Good morning. Let's see, is it actually live? Ah, yeah, the preview is working. And looks like we're having audio. That should all be good. And let's send out those messages. Perfect. Okay, so happy Friday morning. It's the end of the week, and it's going to be the end of our test with using YouTube here for streaming as opposed to Twitch. So if you're not aware, I mean, I've mentioned it a few times on the stream before, but I used to stream on Twitch while I was programming. And then I switched over to YouTube to sort of try it out. A friend of mine suggested it, and I wanted to give it a shot, see if it was any better. And from what I can see, I see where do we get all my stats? I now have 36 subscribers, which means that in the last month or so, I've gotten 26 more. And I mean, that's due mostly to YouTube probably having more developers watching as opposed to Twitch, which has a more gaming audience. However, there are certain things about Twitch that I think are maybe a little bit better. Like, for example, Twitch's chat is a little bit easier to sort of deal with. And it can handle code snippets a little bit better, and there's more moderation tools. So it's a really tough decision. And I can't really say like, oh, one or the other is the only way to go because I can, there's many ways to get my videos from Twitch to YouTube and not quite as easy to get it from YouTube to Twitch. So that's like another potential choice is I could stream live on YouTube and then put these archive stream live on Twitch and then archive the videos in full definition to YouTube. So a lot of things to decide about. Now I want to experiment with these cards because I think I had one up that just said like, what would you prefer, A or B, for a while before I realized that I hadn't like taken them down when I was experimenting. So I want to add a card here, and it's going to be a poll, and it's going to be, where should I stream? And the poll choice is going to be YouTube, spelled correctly, and Twitch. And create the card. And so I think the idea is that in the upper right hand side, so that direction. Uh-oh, I lost my preview window. Stream health. Stream is healthy. How about OBS? What are you telling me? No drop frames. All right, kilobits per second is still going strong. All right. Hit refresh. And okay, so I don't know what that was besides my my preview window just doing weird things. I'm gonna pop out chat just in case. That's another thing that's kind of nice is that if you refresh chat in Twitch, it loses it completely. Like you just can't see it at all. Whereas in YouTube, it will stay here. And like I can refresh it, and all of the chat from the entire video is loaded in. And that's kind of nice for like, oh, I missed something, and I had to refresh my window, and yep, well, I missed it completely. Don't even know what happened. So anyways, these are all questions. I'm gonna put a Twitter poll on too. So I'm just curious about what you actively watching today is going to be. And then later on, I'm going to put a Twitter poll up. And I'll remind everybody at the end of the stream too, asking Twitch or YouTube. All right, so with that being done, Let's make it, oh, come on. Oh, it's full screen, that's why. All right, if you're watching this live, go ahead and say hi. Otherwise, if you're watching the VOD, please feel free to leave a comment in the video. And without further ado, we're going to get right back into it. So, what were we doing? Right, we had finished chapter 6. And now we're refactoring the temperature converter project, the Fahrenheit to Celsius or Celsius to Fahrenheit project. But this time we're going to try to use enums during that. So let's head on over there. Let's see, what would this be? What did I call this? Fahrenheit. And let's open this up in VS Code. All right, so I had begun last time by creating an enum temperature, and we had discovered that that if I have like a lowercase name here, it tells me that I have to have camel case, which is a capital first letter name. And we sort of discussed what camel case means. So Felix, who is watching, did send me a link to an issue that is in the Rust code on GitHub that says, look, we can't just say that they're using camel case because that means something different in other languages, and that's just going to be really confusing. They specifically called out JavaScript developers, which I was really confused about because I learned about camel case way back when I was doing shell, and so I thought that was a little bit interesting. But I do also agree that using camel case for this when there's other languages that have different meanings is just going to make it hard to context switch back and forth. They seem to have agreed upon a word to use, which is upper camel case and lower camel case whenever they want to have like traditional camel case. I have my own thoughts on that, but I'm not going to elaborate too much here. But that seems to be what they're planning on putting in. It hasn't been actually like put into the main branch yet. It's still requiring some people to sort of look over it. But I thought that was just sort of interesting part of the ecosystem going on right now. Now, if we come back to our temperature here, so we have an enum that's basically, we're going to have a temperature. It can be only Fahrenheit or a Celsius, and that can be a floating point number of 32-bit floating point number. So let us now actually start applying this. The other thing I've been thinking about is just going overboard and doing everything as an enum. So like if I even comment that out and I say, okay, let our input temperature, if we return get temperature as a enum, which would means like an option type F32, then we get the user input, and then we're going to, then we would respond with like some of this. And I think that would be let temperature equals to shadow it. And then we can return some temperature. Now this means we have to, you're yelling because it's not the right thing, right? Yes, you need to be semicolon. Now you're gonna yell because this is not what you're returning. So we're gonna say option F32, like that. Then of course that comes up here. Input temperature is now an option enum. Oh man, my preview window is still frozen a little bit. I'm not dropping any frames, so I think everything is still good. Just my preview window is not good. I'm just going to pause that so I don't worry about it too much. And okay, so match. Okay, so we have this. This is now an option. So an option enum type. So it can be none or a 32-bit integer or 32-bit floating point number. Then we're going to do input symbol is going to be the same thing. So get temperature. Yep, I closed the door. Get temperature symbol. And this is where we're going to want an enum of this. So in get temperature symbol, we really want to have temperature is going to be what type we're going to return. So we have our message, let temperature symbol. We could even put these as enums. I'll wait for just a second to do that. I'm going to do the main, just like the stuff that's coming into main first. Let's temperature symbol equals get user input message. So that gives us a string of the symbol back. So hopefully it's just like a character or not. We're going to match this temperature symbol and we need to dereference it. So that way we can get the F or F and make it F. But we don't need to respond. Well, I guess temperature is not necessarily going to be a 32-digit number. Input temperature then, that's what this would be. So it's not going to be an option 32. It's not going to be a sum here. We want to respond with temperature Fahrenheit 32. So what is that? Temperature Fahrenheit. Is it brackets like this? Is it parentheses like this? And then we pass it in the temperature. Oh, and we have to tell it that we're responding with temperature, which works there. And then it comes into here. Now our input symbol, we don't, I mean, here's the other problem. How do we know what, like I can't do an input temperature of that yet because we don't know if it's Fahrenheit or not. So that's a problem right there. We need to, because we're getting the symbol second, we kind of want to maybe have like an option, and this is not going to be an F32. Or maybe it is. Get temperature can be an F32, just like normal. Okay, let's try that. So it's F32. We return this exactly as we were planning on doing. Why are you upset? Okay, so we get the F32. Now input symbol equals input temperature, and if this match input symbol, what we really, okay, then we're just saying input symbol is now going to be this. Now I don't think I can do like another let, can I? So I'm probably gonna want to put Celsius or Fahrenheit. I want to create them at this point in time. Now, can I just say this is going to be, so temperature C, input symbol, and then, oh, look at this. So it's input temperature equals convert F to C. So as soon as we have the input symbol, we now know that it's going to be like, you know, Fahrenheit or Celsius. So I think that we kind of want to, at this point in time, input temperature equals get temperature. Now that we have an F32, we go get the symbol, which lets us know which one of these we can finally do. But we haven't, like, we don't have what type it is. So maybe we just say that you're Fahrenheit or you're Celsius. Like, I don't really care about that. So enum temperature, so get temperature. Get temperature symbol. This is going to respond with a temperature. Match temperature symbol deref. If you're F, then your temperature Fahrenheit. And if you're C, your temperature Celsius. Save that. And now we're sending back this enum here, and it's going to be one of these two things, which means now if we match the input symbol, do we need to dereference it, or is it Fahrenheit? Oh, I think it's temperature Fahrenheit is going to be this, and you are going to be temperature Celsius is going to do this. Okay. Now, of course, the problem is that as soon as we change this, then we're done. So we do have this mute, so we can change the input symbol. So input symbol is now going to be the opposite. It's going to be temperature Celsius. And you are going to be temperature Fahrenheit. You know, it kind of makes me wonder if I should have a method attached to this that just flips the two. Then I can say, if you're C or C, just flip. Otherwise, you're unreachable. I'm going to worry about that in a second. Instead, like, okay, we have these enums. Now, immediately after we do this, we print line, we hand it the input temperature, which is still just a normal number, and we hand it input symbol. But the input symbol, so from what I see, like, we are unreachable, and if I remember correctly, this will crash the entire system if we get to this point. So, oh no, your enum has no display trait now. Ooh, that's a good point. Thank you. Let's see if I can do this. I don't know if I can do it from memory. Oh, and welcome to the stream, Danny. Good morning. I think it's like hash open bracket display debug. debug something. You can remove the underscore unreachable branch now. Your enum is exhausted with a 2. Well, I guess, yeah, it can only be one of these, can't it? So it doesn't care about that. And I don't remember what this one is, but it usually tells me in the code when I attempt to put this in here. Plus, I can input symbol dot extract it. Oh, what is it? It's unwrap. Okay, so it's not unwrap. Let's go take a look at what, hey, where's my, I have no browsers over there. That's the reason why. Okay, so enum, I thought it was like unwrap. Enum unwrap rust. Or is that only option? Okay, yeah, because they have unwrap with this, but I think that's only on options. In normal, in normal enums, how would I extract the data? We can go back to the book and sort of take a look at what they were suggesting for that. Unwrap is implemented on option, yes. Documentation. Second edition. It won't let me post generics because it says, yes, I know, that's one problem about the chat here. Which is kind of sad. I'm not sure the best way to solve that besides maybe like creating a Slack team for people to do, or like some other system that like people can share code. I don't know, just maybe make something. Maybe make a website that people could log into and then share code that way. Also, won't let you post a web a URL either, and it won't let me it won't give me options to post a URL, which is a little bit sad. Limescan uses Gitter for all of our chat. Oh, interesting. I can take a look at that too. I think Gitter has code snippets, right? It's been a very long time since I've looked at those. She streams to both YouTube and Twitch. Like at the same time, or for different purposes, or just back and forth? I mean, I guess I could use, where was it? I could use the match to get things out, because this allows me to like actually extract it. But I can also use the let, the if let. So if let, and then if let sum 3. Now, do they have the same example with coins again? If let coin quarter and then the state, so like whatever it's going to be. Then we get that. But I guess because I'm not really setting a value in here, it's just going to be one or the other, right? It's just going to say like, hey, we can do these things. So instead of I could get symbol Let me see if I can implement this. So you're yelling because you don't exist, right? Yeah. So implements temperature, and then I want function get symbol, and the first thing is going to be self. Don't care about anything else. We are going to return a probably, do you want a stir or a string? I want to transfer ownership back to them, so I'll do a string. And then I just want to match, so match self. You're yelling at me, oh. Type temperature is not empty. Okay, yes, I need to handle all these cases, and that's fine. So can I just do Fahrenheit, or do you need me to do the temperature also? So if this case, then it's going to be, I think I'll do string dot from. Oh, I can do even char. So a character F, and Celsius comes in as C. Unreachable pattern matches any value. So do I need temperature like that? Non-reference pattern used to match a reference. Consider using a reference temperature Fahrenheit. I'd consider just having two functions for temperature. One for convert that returns a new temperature enum, and one for display. So implements, like this one would be display, and so it just returns, the string for me to display, and then the other one for convert that returns a new temperature enum. So one that like changes from one to the other. Yeah, we could do that. For right now, I'm trying to figure out the match. So it won't let me use that, which kind of makes sense. Do I have to do self? Definitely not. It did not like that at all. Consider using a reference self Fahrenheit. Cannot find unit struct or constant Fahrenheit in module self, so definitely not. And maybe do I have to dereference it? So, what was it, like ref, like that? Oh, definitely not. And then the last one that I saw was like the deref right here. But I don't know if that's needed. Nope, still doesn't like that. So the big thing is that an unreachable pattern, so it can't see. Consider using underscore Fahrenheit instead of warrant unused variables on by default. Wait, what? So unreachable pattern matches any value, which I thought is strange. It shouldn't. It should match, hopefully, this. Because we're setting it to be temperature Celsius, temperature Fahrenheit, and we're responding back to input symbol. And so now we're input get symbol. So we're telling it, hey, I want the symbol of you. So, hey, if you're this thing, return this. Now I haven't tried doing implements on an enum yet. So let's look up that. Enum Rust implements. implement format, display for enum. Let's try going to the actual documentation for, oh, this is the book. Do they have an implements here? Implement message call self method body would be defined here. So implement message call m.call is whatever it feels like. It'd be nice if they actually wrote the example code of what it would look like in there. But other than that, it doesn't seem to have that. So that's not helpful. Implement trait for enum variant. Let's try this. Oh, that's trait. That's like implementing a trait. So match self. Oh, they're taking ownership here. Match the self, and then the thing A, thing B. That feels like what I was trying to do. Nobody else gave any example code except for the question, which may or may not be right. Now we could, I guess, I might want to do. I could try taking ownership of this and just say, hey, I want ownership of this and we're destroying it. So we don't really care if anybody else has it after this. And we want cannot find use it struct variant or constant Fahrenheit in module self. So that seems to be the problem that I was running into here, which is like it should be there, but clearly is not the way I'm supposed to do it. Now I could just say temperature, but I don't think it likes this either. Or maybe it does. Okay. Temperature Celsius. And interesting. Now, if I go back to not taking, and so I don't take ownership of this, it doesn't like that. If I then have that be the borrow to, it doesn't like that either. So I need to take full ownership of it. I destroy it, and then I just return a character, which is that's more interesting because like it is now no longer viable here. It's gone, which is fine in this case, but I can see future cases when it's like I don't want to destroy it when I call get symbol. I want to keep it around for future use. So your temperature is, and this, I'm hoping that this should just work as is. Let's go try it. Cargo run. Temperature, let's do like 55. Is it in C or F? It's in C. Your temperature is 131 degrees Fahrenheit. So everything seems to be working still. So we converted, like we now have input symbol is an enum that we're sort of like passing around. So one thing that I was thinking about is we can do like the option type, basically by calling sum. And from what I understand, like option type is perfect if I want it to potentially be null or none in this case. Input temperature, get temperature. If I get temperature, I'm saying like you must be an F32. So if we get this, well, we're not going to allow them to return anything except an F32, and it will crash if they give anything other than a number. So I don't think so. I think that this is fine with not being an enum. Now input symbol is nice to be an enum, and it would also be nice to store, like, to have the enum also store the number too. But I'm not sure that's the best choice. So let's see, what else? Okay, refresh my screen since my preview window is like doing some weird things, but hopefully everything should be good. We could do that convert. We can say, okay, enum temperature, we now have function convert. And this takes in self, and we're going to return another temperature. And so we're going to match on self, and if we're temperature Fahrenheit, we're going to return a temperature Celsius. And if we're a temperature Celsius, we're going to return a temperature Fahrenheit. And you're not being used, but that's fine. So here is this, convert F to C, input symbol equals temperature Celsius. So at this point in time, instead of just saying like, hey, here's what you are now, we can now do input symbol dot convert. And I kind of want, like, after I do this, maybe I can only run this code once, right after this match. So I can say input symbol equals input symbol dot convert. And so now it'll be correct. Okay, so let's take a look. We got our input temperature. That's going to be our F32. It can't be anything else. We don't want it to potentially be null. We have our input symbol, which is an enum. Match input symbol. Okay. We have our temperature to Fahrenheit, which basically, if we're Fahrenheit or Celsius, we're doing whatever thing this is, which is choosing to do one of these calculations. Input symbol equals, we convert the symbol, and then we print line, your temperature is, and then we go here. And we don't even need these to be debug prints, because we're actually converting these out to characters or something else. Now, the only thing that's interesting is that these enums are taking ownership here in the implements, so they get destroyed as soon as this is done. Now, that's not a problem for our current program. Like, we're not attempting to use them again here. I just sort of think that's interesting. And something to be aware of in the future if I do want to do something, like, for example, get the symbol, like, this name doesn't feel proper anymore. Because it doesn't really describe, it's going to destroy the simple when getting it. Okay, so do we want to change any of these to use like enums inside of these structures here? So we have our message. Like they could be messages like that. Now get user input. I mean, takes in a message, but, and these are all stirs. I could pass around full strings. Because yeah, in get user input, we'd take in a borrow of a string of a stir, and we're going to pass back a full string. And here's where we're doing like the string from user input, and we trim it. And I mean, this all seems fine. And because we happen to know that like we could put temperatures and actually have the temperature be a type. And we don't care, like all it is just a number, but we're just saying you have to be a number type and you have to be a F32. So it'd be a little bit more descriptive about that. So convert F to C, and we do that. So I could try that. So we have our input temperature. We could also have we can do an option type with some, or we can have like the temperature value. We can call this temperature symbol. I probably don't want this one. Hold on, temperature. Oh, it won't let me do that. Okay, hold on. How can I unselect if I want to turn to temperature symbol? Nope, that's not it. Like I don't want to catch this one with multi. I could just do this. So temperature. Oh, it won't even let me do that. Okay, I'm not gonna worry about that then. That's too many text to sort of change right now on a whim. But I kind of like also that you have the protection in Rust when it's an actual number type and it's just a sort of a primitive type. It cannot be null or void or anything else like that. And I don't want them to be. I don't even want the option for that to be. And I could give it an enum, but it's only ever going to be one thing, which is this. So it feels to me like just keeping these as the primitive floating point numbers is probably the best. In get user input, we have our strings. And those seem to be fine. I think the big thing that we did here was that we have our enum temperature and our implementation of temperature. However, because I'm new to Rust, and especially I'm new to enums, it may be that I'm just sort of not seeing where I can appropriately put an enum. So if you have any suggestions for what I can convert into an enum here, please let me know in a comment on this video, or put an issue into the repo. I'm going to have the repo linked in the README, and I'll also put it into the description for this video too. But that seems, I'm basically gonna say like, okay, we are using an enum now. We've implemented a couple of different functions for it, and we're using both those functions. So let's go ahead and using an enum for the temperature. Stage that and push it on up. Now I'm making sure that this is in a separate branch from what we had. This is in a using enums branch. So I'm going to go, here we go. Let's go back to GitHub. Fahrenheit to Celsius Rust. And what I want to do is grab this branch, get the link to it. I don't want to do a pull request, GitHub. No, we're fine. And let's come back to our original thing here and let's open up code here. Okay, so in our README, we have the refactoring CDF project using enums. Check the enums branch, and I'm just going to replace this here. I don't need to say that anymore because I'm just sending you straight to the using enums branch. In chapter 3, created the following projects, and then I'm going to say in here, at the end of chapter 6, refactored at the end of chapter 6, and I'm going to move you up here. Okay, so currently at finished chapter 6. We are done with that, so we don't even have a plan for the rest of the stuff. Okay, so that updates sort of like where we are and what we're doing. So I'm going to add this up. So updated plan after finishing chapter 6. And send that on up too. It feels like today was, we did a little bit of this refactoring, figured out enums a little bit. And then I believe that we're going to really get into chapter 7 next time. Let's take a look at where's the book? Here we go. Chapter 7 is going to be modules. So using modules to reuse and organize code. So that's going to be sort of interesting and fun to get into. But because it is 7:50 and I do want to get into work a little bit early today, I'm probably just going to have this be a shorter stream, and we're going to start on chapter 7 proper next week. So before I go, I wanted to sort of re-emphasize that I have this card set of where should I stream, YouTube or Twitch. I don't know if I can like keep it on here the entire time and then see what the responses are like later on, but I'm going to create a Twitter poll later today. And if you follow my Twitter, which is Brooks_Patton, and I have it linked in the both the stream and the video description here, I'm going to put a poll of where should I stream, YouTube or Twitch? And I'll be making a decision sometime this weekend. I'll tweet that out. And then on Monday, I'll be streaming either from Twitch or YouTube. Obviously, links will go out on YouTube, on Twitch, of where those streams, like exactly how to watch those streams. and archives will always be posted here on YouTube. All right, well, thank you very much. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more of these, please follow this channel. Obviously, things are going to be coming in. I want to keep on doing some kind of streaming and some kind of videos. Anyways, I hope that you have a great rest of your day. And if you're watching the VOD, I hope that your day is going extremely well or went well. And with that, I'll see you guys next time.